assessment and counseling, and personal well-being since 2012. So she has a really good lot of experience, which is a really good thing for all of us guys. We're gonna get a very, very nice session. This is what I feel. So should we get started, ma'am?
Sure.
Session is all yours.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm really glad that I would be interacting with all of you being into the media studies, and we are today going to talk about psychology, media, and art. This is going to be an interactive session, so I would like all of you to be very interactive. If you think that a particular thing could be interrupting in the session, you all could just write to me in the chat, and then probably we could take it ahead in the session. Okay. So we all have different perceptions about psychology, that people who are psychology professionals are people who can read mind. People who are psychology professionals can influence human mind. So basically, psychology and mental health is just the way we think, the way we adapt, the way we behave, and the way we feel generally about life. So now, if you look at psychology from this particular angle, it is a science that deals with all these areas. You will soon start knowing, which many of you already know, that media, any type of media, the way we express, the way we project, and the way we perceive has a close connection with the way we behave, the way we remember, the way we think, and the way we learn. Okay, so psychology and media are always and were always interlinked because it always has been a representative about how human beings have been living. It has always been a representative of how human beings think, how they should think, how they feel, how they should not feel. So it is closely related. Okay, so now today, like, we all know these areas as media's areas like television, films, radio, newspaper, magazines, social media, and digital media. So I am not going to compartmentalize all of them, but we are together going to look at all these areas through various modes. Okay. So an activity for all of you. Name a favorite actor or an actress and the character that they played and that really was admired by you. Okay, remember that. Okay, and if you want, you can just put it in the chat box. It's for you. Okay, it's a small activity. I want you all to remember a favorite actor and actress in a particular role in a movie or a drama or experimental theater. It could be anything. Okay, just remember that that really influenced you, that you really admired that particular role, and because of that actor or actress. Done that? Okay. Now here I did not really tell you that why this particular role should be your favorite or why this particular character should be liked, because I know that everybody has given the answer as per their preference. Has everybody given that? Let me just try to understand whether all of you are awake, are present. You can put it in the chat box. You can just say that, okay, we have written it.
Guys, you can just switch on your mics and talk to ma'am.
Sure. That would be really great. Okay. Some of the answers I'm receiving in the chats. Great. Okay. Great. Now, next part. Now, you probably like this particular character or this particular person is because one, the value system that the person or the character portrayed in that particular film or a particular role, okay, reflected your value systems. Okay, then it could be punctuality, it could be neatness in life, clarity of life, struggle of life, but values that you also admire. Second, there could be a reason that this particular character, the way the character has been portrayed, is a character which you actually subconsciously want to be. You're not one currently, but you want to reach there. Okay, so it's a shadow of our personality. Or the conflicts the character actually goes through in the particular theater or in a particular role that you have imagined faces conflicts which are very much identified with by you. And next is you get a feeling where for a few moments I could actually go into that person's shoes and feel how the person was feeling. Has one of them been the reason for you? Please answer in yes or no. You can switch on your mics and answer or put it in the chat box. Fast. This is for everybody. I can see like 36, 37 participants for all of you. Put yes or no. Yes? Okay. Super. Yes, 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 yes. Almost all of you. How did this happen? Means, did I instruct you that you have to have a character which you reflect on the level of value system or personality with this character? No. Then how does it happen? This is the exact role human psychology plays and media plays in driving human behavior. Okay. So it could be it could be very unrealistic also. It could be a complete fiction-based movie, but the value systems or the personality shadows play a huge role on us and it leads and influence. Okay. So it was just a ice-breaking activity to understand that these two things were always and always related. Okay. So there are two ways of influences. Okay. One where media and art influences human behavior. So it's almost like a boomerang. Okay, so it drives or it is generated to project or to show any particular emotion or a way of behavior, and it comes back as an influence on behavior too. Okay, also our preferences or thoughts or patterns of thoughts are they also basically influence media and art. So when now this kind of media I'm saying, I'm more talking about television, I'm talking about OTT platforms, I'm talking about web series, I'm talking about movies, I'm talking about daily soaps. So the ones who basically serve two purposes. One, they represent our lives. Okay, and second, they entertain. Okay, so these are the two ways which we are going to look today. Okay, and obviously in between you can ask like multiple questions that you have. So how is the influence that actually takes place? Okay, so now again an example and game or activity. I'm going to just say a few words, and the first thought or first emotion or first thing that comes to your mind, you have to put it in the chat box. Okay, are we all ready? Okay. Red rose. I'm reading the answers. Imagine or have the imagery in front of your eyes and just write it. Okay. 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 Great. So nearly 60 to 70% answers are going in the direction of love. Okay, romanticism. Okay. Next, popcorns.
Movie theaters.
Absolutely. Super. all the answers are directed toward movies, theaters. Great. Yeah, Netflix, entertainment and chilling. Okay, super. Next, pigeon, kabutar. Superb. Masakali and messengers and Pyar Ki Chitti. Amazing. Now, broken heart. Broken heart. Yeah. Pain, sadness, breakup, separation. Could be a good news. Okay. So, are you basically understanding that otherwise these all are very neutral stimulus? Broken heart is nothing but a broken shape. Red rose is nothing but a red colored rose, which is a flower. Popcorn is any snack that could be eaten at any given point. Then why are we all thinking in pretty much similar direction? This is the exact role of conditioning, of building association that media has on our lives. Okay? For that matter, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, jhatki pat. Most of the time, 2 minutes is related and associated to Maggie. This is the influence that advertisements also have. Cleanliness is often associated with white. Something being fair is always something being seen as light. These are all influences. These are all associations. So let me just quickly tell you how this phenomena came into the picture. This is a phenomena for classical conditioning, a very famous concept in psychology. So there was one scientist called as Paula, and he was conducting an experiment on dogs' salivation. Okay, so every time he used to ring a bell, put food in front of a dog, and then the dog would salivate. Okay, so everybody was thinking that, you know, when the dog sees the food, it's natural to salivate. Okay, so मुंह में पानी आने लगता. Okay, so one day what happened, his student observed that the moment the man went to ring a bell, mere with that sight itself, the dog started salivating. The food was not even in the picture. That's how they realized that people associate things with each other. And this is how people learn. So how media comes into this picture is where media helps people to have, build, and strengthen the associations. And that's the exact impact advertisements also have on our life. Okay, why do we see a particular advertisement and we end up going into a mall? We are literally drifted to that particular product just because we see that so many times. What is it? It's an association. It's an association of an experience. So for that, you need not always go through the experience. How many of you think that breakup can be bad? All? Now let me tell you, many of you might not have really experienced horrible breakups. But how do you associate with badness or sadness affiliated to the breakup? Need not be every time movies, but you have seen that. How have you seen that? Either you have seen that in others' experiences or you have experienced it as audience. So media has such a strong possibility of creating alternate memories. Have you ever dreamt of a particular movie scene where you were replaced by, you actually replaced the actor in the movie and you were the actor? and all those similar things happen to you? Just answer in yes or no. Any movie, any daily soap, it could be any, yeah, great. Superb. Many of you are saying yes. How? Because it is such a strong stimulus that it creates a place in our memory house, and it creates a memory of those instances and scenes have really happened. Then our small brain, which is very, very active in our dreams, doesn't understand whether it was a live scenario or whether it was a movie, but it was definitely influential. Okay, so same way, in this particular regards, in a particular way, how we associate, we have close connections to things we like, the tastes we develop, the expressions that we have. When somebody does something like, what does that mean? Something tastes very hot or it is very spicy. How is this expression adapted? By association. So all of you need to understand that media has a very, very strong role. News, daily soaps have a very strong role when it comes to building associations to few things or building associations to few expressions of emotions. Okay, same is with drama also. Now let's also try to look at the process behind that. When a particular movie or when a particular theater, okay, script or act, play, basically particularly takes place, how a person actually goes through the process of character designing, how a person basically tries to create a picture out of a story. He tries relating himself to the various associations those people will be having. If you have heard of any movie or interview of any actor, how does he actually goes and understands the character behind a particular movie, in a particular movie? He basically tries visualizing the associations this person could have, the way he must be writing, the way he must be working, visualizing. Then he probably goes and sees and interacts with people who represent similar clan, where building visual or smell related or music related, voice related associations is possible. So when we understand or when we say that this particular character represents this, we are basically talking about associations. So not only as an audience, but as actors, as filmmakers, as daily soaps maker, as web series directors, we all are basically functioning on the level of building association and strengthening association. This is the reason why very intellectual, sometimes unrelatable, sometimes very thought-provoking, or sometimes movies which show behavioral skewness, okay, extremities, are the movies which don't really go for higher TRPs. They don't really go for a great amount of audience feedback. Why? Because they project or show something where normal human being cannot form the association. It's different, it's new, it's thought-provoking, but it is unrelated. Yeah, obviously there is a huge shift that comes as transition, but it doesn't happen because of a daily soap, a web series, or a single movie. Okay, that's why few movies, are like taken so much on their heads by the audience, but some movies or some forms of art are not really. Some experimental theater, which wants to show something which is an expression of art. Okay, some modern art, if it is not relatable, it is not followed as good or as accepted. This is the entire game of association. Okay. Now we are also going to talk about like this emotional expression and media. So one different example for all of you. So when operas and Greek theater came into the picture, at that particular times, those were complete war days, and people in day-to-day lives also experienced a lot of learned helplessness, lot of sadness, lot of negativity. Many of them experienced depression, separation, weaning. Okay. So if you see the typical plot of opera, it is all covered with infidelity, revenge, craving for power, war. Okay, it relates to love and then separation, and in the end, death. Okay, so what do you think? It is very obvious, no, that if a person is feeling really helpless or really low, he should be looking at something which makes him happy or which makes him feel very hopeful. But why in those particular times, those Greek theater or those great operas were admired by the audience? You know why? If they were helpless, and why did they still admire sad stories? Any reason? Any reason? If they were already facing very bad influences, they were in a war-like situation, there was so much of learned helplessness in the scenario, why did they still appreciated operas or Greek theater, which is full of negativity, specifically the negative ending? कोई भी guess कर सकता है.
That was probably kind of a break from their real life and focus on something else, even though sad but different.
Okay. Okay, yes, a possibility. What else? Some people are writing in chat box. Yes. Because they could relate. Good answers. Yes. And any emotion that piles up basically requires a way of venting out. So looking at somebody's sorrow and somebody's hopelessness in life would allow them to feel cathartic. What is catharsis? It's a very guided procedure of getting out all the negative distress. Okay, so people would cry, people would be spellbound. Okay, people could actually relate to that particular experience so much that they would be awestruck. Okay, this all on the background of negativity. Yeah, but still they could relate to it, and they could feel way lighter when they actually vented their negative emotions out. Okay, so this is interesting. Same for all of us. When we are very sad, why don't very happy songs make us happy? When you are sad, you should actually look at happiness. No, you should look forward to being happy again. But do energetic and amazing songs motivate us at that particular point? No, they don't. What kind of songs do relate to us when we are sad? Anybody can answer.
Sad songs.
Sad songs. Soup songs. Exactly. Why? Because they allow us to form opportunities to relate to it. Another example, when all of you, if some of you are working out, okay, exercising, or if you listen to music which is there in fitness centers or gyms, are these slow songs, romantic songs? Anybody can answer.
No, ma'am.
No, they are songs which are full of zest, enthusiasm, revenge, or sometimes, let me show you how good I am. Okay, or all the remix which has fast beat. Why? Because we associate energy to that. So it could be any art. It's not only for music or theater. It is also for something which is related to pick the choice of colors that we have, because now we are talking about the drawing as an aspect of art. It has got so much influence on us. Have you ever noticed the days on when you are feeling very bored, mundane, sad, you tend to wear clothes which are black, white, or gray? Pretty many times. People who are struggling with something tend to wear those 2-3 similar clothes again and again, because boredom and monotony gives negative comfort. So these are like very small ways in which any way we like, the way we say something, the way we draw, the way we represent color, basically has a particular influence in the ways we think. Okay. Now, it's not only about emotions of happiness or sadness, but something as a picture of love, okay, or the way love as an emotion expressed has a very great influence on media, and media has an influence on us. So just a small example of that. What do you see in these 3 pictures? You can answer me. Like, you can think and answer. You can write it in the chat box. You can unmute yourself and answer.
It's all love stories, but in a different background. Like when we take Kamala, it's high of an energetic thing.
Yeah.
Like, and even the setup is all different.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yes. Anything else? Okay, anything else? Some people are writing different eras of love stories. Yes, difference in music which is shown in the movie. True. What is it? These are the ways in which the definition of expression of love has been changing. These are not only posters, but tender romanticism to lusty expression of love. We all, thank you to some influences in social media also, and sometimes the way our threshold of emotional expressions have increased also. 2 people in 2 different rooms also would long for love and would tell the pigeons to give messages of love from a place to another place, to talk to moon and say that, you know, why don't you give my message of love to my lover? Okay, to actually meeting and interacting, to actually just being with each other without even feeling anything. Understand that there has always been an expression, okay, of emotion which goes through a lot of transitions. If in a WhatsApp message I have to say I am happy, okay, first of all, if a person is happy, the person doesn't even have to say that I was really happy to meet you all, because that happiness is actually seen. But yes, due to all this digitalization, after any group meetup, I have to put it on the group that I had so much of fun. Hugs, 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 hugs. Kisses, 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 kisses. Are you understanding the need of expression of love or any emotion magnified? And this comes as a compulsion. बेस्ट फ्रेंड का बर्थडे और मीडिया पे पोस्ट नहीं आया, बेस्ट फ्रेंड का बर्थडे और इंस्टा पे नहीं डाला. What kind of friendship? People actually fight on these reasons with each other. And we are talking about times where people didn't even have telephones to communicate with each other. People used to think that somebody is just in the peace, mental and physical peace, just because I did not get any particular message. That means everything is fine. Look at this transition. Media actually walks with us in this revolution, in this evolution, as a reflection. So look at all the retro movies, look at classics of Bollywood, and look at movies and OTDs right now. You will see tremendous change of expression of emotion. May it come to anger or disappointment. There are movies, or there is a representative of emotion where this is also an emotional disappointment. And there is a disappointment that gets converted into actually killing two people also. So media has totally been instrumental in showing this. It is also a possibility that sometimes it may happen that some amount of emotional expression is magnified, okay, because of seeing that on media. But in real sense, in real words, it is nothing but expression of reflection of the emotional expression. May it be any. Why am I saying that? Yeah, because it's not only emotional expression, it is also the way we look at life. These 2-3 pictures from 2-3 movies basically represent the way one can look at life. Dear Zindagi is not a movie which is so appreciated by audience because mental health is important, is the only thing that is given through this movie. It also reflects and is relatable to many of us. So it only assures or reassures the faith in mental health and trusting in oneself. Okay. Same for Three Idiots. Same for many thought-provoking movies like this. So basically all these things have a direct influence on the way we look at life. And that's why it's a very, very strong instrument that makes people think. Yeah. Now it's not only about movies. It's not only about web series. It's also about daily soaps. Why there are so many irrational roles and extremities, but people still feel like watching them? Because entertainment requires high amount of stimulation. Imagine a daily soap. Imagine a daily soap where two people belong to same college. She looks at him, and he becomes the, he becomes the subject of love at first sight. So is she very beautiful. They start talking to each other. They fall in love with each other. They tell each other that they love each other and they get married. Can this be a plot of a daily soap or a movie? Why? If yes, why? If no, why? Why this can't be a plot for a daily soap or a movie? Two people fall in love with each other and they get married. Anybody can answer.
Ma'am, maybe because it's too simple.
It's too simple. It doesn't stimulate.
There's no conflict.
Sorry?
There's no conflict over here.
There is no conflict. There is nothing that could be called as a plot. There is nothing where my ears are actually saying, but after that, what happened? There is no stimulation. There is no reason why should I watch it. It means leave about a daily soap or leave about a movie also. What about in a particular book? If there is no drama, if there is no conflict, then there is no feeling of stimulation. There is no excitement felt. There is no tenacity felt. Okay. And there is no feeling of conquering a difficulty. And if there is no feeling of conquering a difficulty, there is no feeling of arising of an emotion and subsiding of an emotion. Then it does not serve any purpose of entertainment. Entertainment need not always give happiness and laughter. It gives us laughter because humor is a way in which people express. But we also enjoy horror movies. What is something like enjoying in horror movies? We experience the feeling of fear without any given reason. There is nobody actually around me of which I should be afraid of. But when I'm watching a horror movie, a part of me believes that it could be a virtual reality for that particular moment, which gives a feeling of fear, excitement, arousal, and reduction. And that stimulation basically makes me like horror movies also. Same with thriller. A CID or a detective in me basically is stimulated. What must be happening? He enjoys the journey. He walks in the journey. Same with the daily soaps, even if there are extremities. Why are they so much appreciated by audience? For two reasons. One, they are relatable. Okay. Second, their life goes on just like our lives. Because there are episodes, only something or other happens every day. So there is a chance of change. There is a hope which is stimulated. And that's why any daily soap or any particular TV serial will have a similar or typical storyline, but which is really, really appreciated, yes, by audience. Because it is relatable, it creates hope, it creates and awakens the curiosity. Not only that, nowadays, the updates of what happens in a particular daily soap are available on Insta and Facebook also, through the posts, through the reels. Okay, so we feel like, oh, if I'm watching this, then I should be watching the episode too. Okay, and that kind of curiosity is basically stimulated. Yes.
So, ma'am, yeah, I had one question.
Sure.
So, what's the viewer psychology behind watching series like Nagin, where it's all bizarre?
Yes.
So, them being bizarre, can it be the stimulus?
No, usually that is not. But sometimes people really respond very well to something which is highly stimulating. So let me just give you a day in, day out like example. If I say that some people want to party, okay, so there is so much of subjectivity involved in this. Some people might just meet together, order something from Swiggy, have food. Some people might just cook together and have a party. Some people might just go to a restaurant and enjoy chit chat and have a party. Some might go to a club, dance, get high, get drenched, and make sure that this is called party. Some people just might have a lot of booze, sit together, drink a lot, eat a lot, drink till they puke, and they might call it a party. All of them are the ways of saying that we had a great party. but the extent of stimulation all of them offered is different. In general, the expression of emotion and extremities have become very, very okay nowadays, because threshold for emotional tolerance of people have shown great amount of rise. So as audience also, they are able to tolerate bizarre behaviors because they offer extreme stimulation. So when we see something and when we feel like, yuck, the second moment, the second thought, you're like, okay, itna hi tha. So our tolerance to digest high stimulation is magnified over years. Imagine crime diaries and crime series episode these days, and just for curiosity, watch CID, which is like a 10, 15, 20-year-old TV serial, and try to relate to the stories that they used to solve there, mysteries they used to solve there. There is huge amount of stimulation. We are unable to relate to it only. Even the remakes of Sherlock Holmes, or the remakes of or Tom Cruise movies for that matter, the advanced and these movies have so much of stimulation and digitalization compared to only thrill and war scenarios and fights. Because we not only want advancement, we also want high stimulation, and we are pretty okay with bizarreness as audience. Yeah. So it's very hard to believe, but it satisfies our level of stimulation.
Right. So can we say that it applies also to the news, bizarre news that we get?
Yes, it does. And it only stimulates how odd people can be.
Exactly.
And if how odd people can be, it's only because they get audience. So why these things are improved, or like the way it is seen and appreciated by audience is increased because they get audience.
Right.
So the more bizarre they become. Yeah. And there is no point in saying that media only expedites it or increases it. Because human mentality stands it is reflected through media. Then it is appreciated, similar is reflected in media. Then similar is increased. Okay, so it's always a circular thing. So people always ask me that, whether human behavior influences media and reflects media, or media only influences human behavior. I say to a particular point, anda pehle ki murgi pehle. We are ending up in that particular conflict where we never know the answer, whether egg comes first or the hen comes first. Yeah. Super. Okay, so general overview about things. Learning behavior has a great influence, and it reflects, human behavior reflects through media as well. There is something called as observational learning, okay, a phenomena in psychology, which is like very famous. So there was one psychologist called as Albert Bandura, and he he was experimenting. He kept kids in one room, few other kids in another room. Okay, and there were multiple toys put there. Okay, now all these were preschoolers. Okay, so in one room, he particularly showed cartoons and movies which had so much of violence. And in another room, he just had random music or nothing. Okay. Then after 10 days of this similar activity, he observed that a room in which there was constant violence or violence through cartoons scene, level of sharing of toys between kids was reduced. They would fight with each other a lot. They would snatch things from each other. In day out life also, they experience lot of aggression and bullying. They happen to bully others. Whereas human beings otherwise are very docile, social kind of an animal who would always seek harmony. Okay. So then this research was, further pursued and all, and then understood that when there is emotion of aggression which is present in us, and then a person is seeing something on media, seeing something as a form of art, it may has an effect of increase in expression. This is what observational learning takes place. It's not only because of media, but that particular emotion is already a part of human emotional system. Yeah. But there is a lot of learning that takes place. Currently, there is a huge amount of research done on cartoons and games, which include a lot of killing and establishing the autonomy and its connection to day-to-day life. And a lot of the reports are saying that games with lot of violence has close relation to inability to socialize in appropriate ways in children. Okay. Second, it talks about general value system. So it has huge impact on value system and the way of life. Luxury is something where associations are built so much with media, with movies, with the pictures that we see, the way we see luxury in daily soaps, the way we see poverty, okay, the way we celebrate, okay. So basically, media has a crucial role of sometimes desensitizing. What is desensitizing? Something which actually has a potential to make me sensitize or feel sensitive. When I watch that often, it easily becomes a piece of information for me. And this is the particular function which media sometimes play. And that's the reason why it is always said that how media has a huge responsibility to govern human thought patterns and actions. Yes. Not only that, it also plays a role of inspiration and motivation. Imagine a scenario where one feels extremely low at a rock bottom. That's the very example that you also gave and admitted, that that is the time when we cannot relate to anything which is energetic, which is full of life. But there is a point when we say that, oh my God, this is a rock bottom. Nothing worse can happen to me. And then happens something. We listen to a song and it just moves us from within. Because it just gives a picture to what we are thinking. At such points, when you watch movies like Laksh, when you watch movies like Lagan, you suddenly start relating to it, which otherwise are great movies, but they are like, okay. But a point where you feel that now I just need to bring a change. Those are the point when media, art form, theater, movies, web series actually play a role of giving you that inspiration and motivation. Okay. It also helps people have coping strategies. Coping strategies like expression of anger, projecting something on somebody, then displacing anger on someone. Okay, so looking at good forms of art most of the times act as coping mechanisms for people. Some music, some songs have an influence where we feel like ये गाना सुनने के बाद मुझे इतना नॉस्टैल्जिक और खुद के बारे में इतना अच्छा लगता है ना. No matter what I'm feeling, I feel good. This is the association those kinds of arts have on our lives. Same on relationships, interactive patterns, understanding each other. So this is just an overview of how these influences are reflected in day-to-day life. But generally, the role of art or media in our lives is a catalyst role. It offers visual or music or form of emotion, because emotion is something which is a very abstract thing. When I'm saying I'm very happy, I cannot quantify how happy I am. And a movie or a music or a form of art basically gives a picture to it. Okay, that's why I am able to relate to it. Not only that, it has potential to form a memory trace. We so often feel that this has happened to us. It has not happened to us, but we have seen that in movies. Something as theft, something as falling in love and feeling special. We in a current relationship have felt it or no, I don't know. But we often have a memory trace for it. Means films, romantic movies have so much to do with this particular thing. That people always say that we love the idea of falling in love. I don't know whether that person liked me or no, but I was so much in love with the idea of, wow, I was in love. So I love that part of me. So in this particular regard, media has a huge influence on this because it has picture of people being in love. Pictures and visuals of people experiencing being drenched in love. And then we start relating to it rather than life realities. We are so special for each other. Sometimes is only a projection of what I feel. Sometimes audience experiences transference. Transference matlab we hate some characters as if they have done something wrong to us personally. Actually, they have not. They are a part and parcel of that particular movie, but they try to evoke some negative emotions and they try to trigger some negative instances in our life. Yes. So there was this interview of women and men, okay, who had vivid memories of sexual or physical abuse as children. Okay, so after 10-15 years, this was a longitudinal study. So after 10-15 years, they said that anybody hurting anybody made them a feeling that that person is torturing me. In movies also. Okay, why? Because that triggers some emotion of my learned helplessness in the childhood. So people many times experience this type of transference of emotion also. Or people experience the feeling of nurturance or mothering when they actually relate to the idea of wanting to become a parent. Okay, and they start enjoying it. It's very subjective. It's almost like अगर मैं भूखा हूं तो मुझे आजू बाजू के कैफेज और रेस्टोरेंट्स के नाम दिखाई देंगे. But if I don't feel that, so see, understand the strength of art form. Yeah, it has subjective effect on everyone in the audience. For some people, they relate to the grandeur of a particular movie or art form. Some people relate to the characters. Some people relate to the music. Some people relate to the storyline. Some people just enjoy the experience and the journey. Some people relate to one single character in the movie. Some relate to the only end part of it. But this is the effect an art has, where it is very subjective to everybody depending on their life conflicts and personalities. Last, there are a few subconscious compulsions that we feel. Those compulsions as badness should always result in badness. It's a subconscious compulsion that we have from art form, because this is something that we have learned as value. Or a movie or a something should most of the times can have a happy ending, or at least digestible ending. Okay. Or we usually are unable to appreciate movies which do not have definite ending. So he came and he walked on the bridge and then he went. So did he speak to her? Did she see that he was coming? All these are the questions which always linger in our mind. And then we are like, oh my God, 2.5 hours I spent on this and I did not understand what happened in the end. So human closure is one characteristic that we expect from any kind of news or media. It is not only for that. Sometimes it may happen that the news is written in a newspaper and you are reading, and a part of it goes in the end somewhere and they write on this particular. And then we are unable to find that particular part in the news on that particular page. Why we become so impatient? Because we want to know what happened next to that. That's a human tendency to complete, to conclude, to have an impression when we start looking at it as a complete picture. Okay. Clarity in motives. So we don't like an idea where characters of villain just change and start behaving in a very good manner. And they're not dramatizing. They actually change. And then we are like, okay, then why were they behaving like this in the beginning? What changed so much? So we like the clarity in motives as well. Okay. So these are the ways how, usually we have expectancies from the media and the art form that we watch too. Okay. So they stimulate, and sometimes media also acts as a therapy. Okay. How as a therapy? Sometimes a story, article, movie creates a lasting impact on us, and actually it makes us think from various perspectives. And this may not happen if similar thing might happen to our friend, our boyfriend, our girlfriend, or our wife or spouse, or even parents. But when you are looking at it as an art form, you actually become third person in that scenario. So you are able to have an hawk's eye view at the entire situation, and then you relate to it that, oh my God, in this story, this particular actor, protagonist, he actually thought of it from various perspectives. So in a similar situation, can I not think of it from this perspective too? So this kind of lasting impact and an additional perspective also could be given with an art form. Any art form, may it be theater or may it be a movie, daily soap or a web series, it basically reaffirms or reassures few virtues. Some virtues, some art form assure the virtue of hope and optimism, some resilience, some faith, some trust in God's self, some interest in goodness in the world. So all these things are very, very important to survive and reach the role of subjective well-being. So these basically act as catalysts or therapists in the journey. My last point would be social media and human behavior. Pretty much is said about it and done and researched. So I am just going to be talking about positive and negative effects. So it has tremendous positive effects, like we know how people think, what people are doing. So we are just informed and we are just updated. We also explore and understand what people are doing without we going and asking them, because they post and we are known. Okay. It is done without fear of rejection. So we pretty much know and we are pretty much connected to people without they rejecting us. Okay. We also tend to reach to masses, feel familiar irrespective of relocation. So people have always in research and questionnaires have said that our social media page, our Insta profile, my Facebook profile was always my savior when everything my life fell apart. Okay. Or I relocated or I shifted from one place to another place. But that was something which was very constant in my life. So these are few positive effects. Many are negative. It becomes a neurotic need of accepting and affiliation by others. मुझे like कितने आए, मुझे कितने लोगों ने follow किया. So there is constant need of that kind of acceptance. Sometimes checking the social media on phone is a compulsion that comes on us. ये check नहीं किया, ये post नहीं किया. It is self-built, but it comes as a compulsion. It is definitely distracting and time-killing. It is. Watching a daily soap on a movie, TV, watch far more okay, because then people would say that 8:30 बजे episode आने वाला है, तो 8:25 को TV on करूँगा. There were instances when people would shuffle the channels and within half an hour would find out कि कुछ नहीं है. Imagine current state of this digitalization and social media doesn't allow that. We have so many options to kill time with that, trust me, I have seen working employees and students and age-old people spending 20 hours on screen time. Okay? And leading to a lot of passivity, negativity, not doing anything, in the end feeling low about oneself, which is worse. Often it has demotivating effect. When people understand about other people's life instances, like why so many people are getting married, people are getting kids, people are getting new jobs, my ex-boyfriend looks so happy. This has a very demeaning and negative effect on your life. So there is always one saying that things for which you don't want any proximity, you should always stay away from that. Okay, so media and social media sometimes don't allow that. Specifically social media, you are bombarded with posts and knowledge and information which sometimes you don't want. Okay, and definitely it is related to stress, anxiety, cyberbullying, addiction to games and activities, and there is an addiction to post and recheck and post also, repost also. So this is about social media and human behavior. Now I'm all open to your question answers. You can ask me any question regarding human behavior and how it has got a particular influence, or how a role of a student of media and art should be when it comes to human behavior and understanding human psychology.
Ma'am, I'm Anmol here.
Hi, Anmol.
I just needed your validation for my perspective, ma'am. So what I feel is there's actually nothing to it. And our conditioning over a particular span of time, like at a crucial age, the content we consume not knowingly has affected our lives in many ways, which has progressed to more content. Like in the sense, when I was a kid, maybe I would have liked aeroplanes and all of that. And now at this point of time, the same thing is being reflected. Like as my consciousness is being created, like in the sense my perspective is being created, it is moving me through all these thoughts and memories and information to something which I've also seen before, and which like in the sense which also is trying to tell me, okay, this is what I like, this is how it should be, this is what you can change in it, and all of that. Do you think this is it's a, since you're a psychologist, I'm asking, ma'am, is this acceptable? Like, is this the right way to think?
So you are just I'm just rephrasing what you said in a way I would understand it. Does that mean you want to say that you always have a set of preferences and accordingly only you choose a material that you want to see, and that only creates the content of what you would want to see in future?
In a way, ma'am. In a way, yes, ma'am.
In a way. So, yes, it's definitely true. But here I'm more interested in understanding what is the first set of preferences that you have. Because the first set of preferences that you have as life aspirations or characters or movies that you want to see or something that you want to become, that all also reflects your psychological needs and your personality needs.
Hmm.
So whatever you call a very neutral stimulus itself is not neutral.
Subjective, ma'am.
It's very subjective. Why everybody doesn't like a thriller? Why everybody doesn't like a romantic movie? Because they have not seen life going on those particular planes as good ways of leading life. So in everybody's life, some values and some things are glorified right from our childhood. So my childhood today will define whether I like movies which show regimental behavior like 6 baje utna hi hai, 7 baje kaam ko jana hi hai. Whether do I relate to these kind of film will be dependent on how my childhood was.
Hmm.
So
But
our
if
preferences.
actually, if you go to see, there's nothing to it, no, ma'am. It's how we like tend to drive ourselves, like in the sense.
Yes, super. So nothing to it. And when you say drive ourselves, so drive ourselves is based on what? It's on
Yeah.
preferences.
Yeah.
It's on choices that we make in life. It's on the level of personality traits that we have. So to some extent, we like all forms of entertainment.
Correct.
Some
And
things
that is
which
being, ma'am, that is being reflected back again through us, like in the sense the
through us
media.
only.
Yeah, the media we have collected over the years, and what is right now happening, and how we implement it into an art form. It's basically like in the sense, like as you told, it's just a like media. We carry media, and it's a reflection. That's
Yes,
very
it
true,
is.
ma'am. I agree with that.
And subjective also. So we, for example, something as a famous series called as Friends. Everybody has different ways in which we relate to a web series of Friends, but more or less we all like it. Yeah, this is where the subjectivity lies.
Correct, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ma'am,
Anybody else? Yeah, sure, Anumul.
Ma'am, are there any other material which we can refer? Like, can you suggest us some good material for media psychology, ma'am? Because this affects, like, this is a very core subject
Yes.
which affects our art form, ma'am. Like, this is the basis.
Yes.
Like, in the sense, if we understand this, I think we can have a better control over our art.
Yes, I will definitely recommend and refer a few books and articles. And I would definitely refer few research papers where actual research has taken place and the correlational studies or longitudinal study results are mesmerizing.
Okay. Yes,
Sure,
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
What we can do is Anuja ma'am can send the names to me and I can give it to you.
Sure, ma'am.
Ma'am, hello, I'm Asmita.
Hi, Asmita.
Ma'am, this is like more of a like in general question, which is like I wanted your advice on. So
Sure.
I'm a person who likes to think about all the perspectives and then come to a conclusion. Like any matter which happens, like I want to look at all the perspectives. If there are 4 people, I want to look at all the perspectives and then come to the conclusion. But sometimes what happens is like a certain emotion probably is too strong and it stops me from doing that, probably anger or sadness, anything. So I want to ask you, is there a way I can try to control it or tackle it and still not block my perspective?
So Asmita, here you are talking about two things. One, which is a resident of your brain, which is emotion. And second, which is reasoning and logical thinking that allows you to take into consideration everybody's perspective. So this is a logical thought. And this is like very people-oriented and a solution-oriented thought, which is typically governed by logic. Now you need to understand that imagine a brain is a house and there are two tenants fighting for the place. One is emotion, one is logic. They cannot reside in the same house if one becomes very, very dominating. So you always need to understand that any strong emotion, it need not be anger or negativity only, excitement also, it
Yes, ma'am.
always overrules logic. So when it comes to studying, when it comes to thinking, when it comes to working on something, when it comes to going for a guided research, when it comes to taking everybody's perspective in that matter, you always should be emotionally neutral. So when it comes to acting kind of a scenario where you have to act on a particular situation and where you need to be very logical, you need to first understand that all the negative emotions are labeled and rationalized in your brain effectively. I am currently extremely angry for 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons, and my anger is very, very valid. But also, it has got nothing to do with 1, 2, 3, 4, which are logically right. This is how you try to compartmentalize it, but it's a matter of practice. It won't happen in 1 or 2 days. It's a part of a process.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you for a nice question. Any other query? Students, you can put it in the chat box too if you have any. You may ask me any query regarding your experiences or obstacles while learning your current subjects also. Or could be related to any of your day in, day out life also.
So maybe till people are articulating their questions,
Sure.
can you talk a little about the subliminal messages that specifically advertisements pass? So I was talking about it in third year's class. So these guys are a little elder, 21, 22-year-old guys, and they can, relate to they could relate to what I was talking. But then this specific word being like subliminal, what is it and how does it affect us? Can you talk about that?
Sure, sure. I'll just read 1 or 2 questions that have come and then get back to this question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can I add to this?
Yes, sure, you can add.
Ma'am, like a simple example like Maggie, ma'am, it promotes the 2 minutes thing more than the
Food.
the food itself.
Yes, totally true. See, so when we relate to something, it need not be very obvious. So when we are talking about subliminal messages or subliminal inputs that one perceives or perceptions, we are basically talking about something which is so subtle that sometimes it is not even sensed by our obvious 5 organs. Okay, so for example, a message which is communicated again for Maggie, it's a food product. Okay, but what all thing that it basically addresses? It addresses the need of speed in this life full of instant. It talks about the importance of respecting time. Okay. Third, it asserts that in day out life, it could be hard for working mothers to basically be prepared with the idea of innovative foods when their children are very hungry. So understand, when there is a plot of a particular advertisement comes, it could be any advertisement like something like Harpic, okay, which is a toilet cleaner, but it basically emphasizes on the idea that nobody can stand unhygiene or ugliness. So it highlights that. It often makes people feel embarrassed. It addresses that. It often feels that cleanliness asserts newness. Okay. there were a few good series of this ads of urban clap also. Kaha se kiya, unse karwa ke liya, kind of a thing. Now, there is a subtle message in it that you need not be a superhuman every time. Your maid need not be a superhuman every time. We are experts you can outsource. And we are there to help. And we are there to help at your doorstep. So here we are talking about you being busy, we being available, we being the experts, and nobody need to be a superhuman to know everything and to do everything. Now, these are the subtle or subliminal messages that one needs to understand when a particular advertisement is appreciated. And trust me, that it's not about the product that gets us attracted to that particular product, but looking at that particular advertisement, we as audience feel the temporary relief and try to relate to this subliminal perception, and that feeling of relief actually attracts us to the product. It's not the price, also sometimes the price. When they say that इस पे ये free है, किस पे क्या free है, इसका अगर हम actual calculation करने भी लगे, तो you will understand that this is not free. But if you were going to buy 1.5 kgs, but you are just buying 2 kgs because you are going to get something additional to it, actually the company is benefiting because instead of 1.5 kgs, you are buying 2 kgs. Same goes for discounts. Same goes for something which comes, ye price ko khod, this price is not there, that price is erased and a new price is kept. But so many times the prices are increased. Same happens with the sales and discounts. The original prices are hyped, then they are crossed and the new prices are kept. And we believe that, oh, mujhe 2000 ka 1000 mein hi mila, but the original price was 1200 only. They made it appear 2000 first and then they gave you a discount of 1000 rupees. And then you are sold out for this idea. These are the messages which are even more important than the actual product, which communicates a direct message called as food or cleanliness. Hope I'm able to address ma'am's question.
Yes, absolutely.
So, ma'am, I have a question which is not much related to the topic we're discussing right now, but it's more towards psychology.
Great. Go ahead.
I have a friend who's recently got a little dog, okay? And there's this practice of, giving treats to dogs after they learn something or they do something, which is very highly promoted as well. But isn't it similar to bribing someone, like for doing the right thing? And that's a common practice even in parents. Like if you score well in class, parents bribe you. So doesn't that put a very negative psychological impact on the child or a dog in this matter?
Sure. Superb question. The thing you are addressing is called as operant conditioning in psychology, and where a behavior which is a desirable behavior is always followed by a positive feedback, and that positive feedback helps us do the same behavior again and again. This is called as learning. A small child, when he learns to tell his name or say mama or papa in the first place, and they say, what did you say, what did you say, then he says mama, and then he gets like 100 hugs. Okay, and he says, wow, I did something special, so now I need to repeat it. And then the child repeats it. Okay, this is how the reinforcement and rewards take place. Now, when you give me an example of a dog, you need to understand the dog doesn't have thinking wise also. His thinking and complex thinking is advanced only till reinforcement. So, higher goals and satisfaction of higher goals takes place in very few breeds of dogs, not all. Okay, so I have seen some golden retrievers or labs who are not eating food just because their owner has not had his lunch yet. This is a higher level of emotional processing, not possible in all dogs. Okay, but definitely when it comes to parents or when it comes to child development, we always recommend parents to reinforce them, but not with materialist rewards. They first of all need to understand that they are studying for their betterment. They are studying because they are enjoying the process. Preparing for exams could be boring. And that is universal. Many of you right now also must be agreeing to it. That all of you love to attend your media classes, but still at times preparation for exam and then writing in exams could become boring, could become daunting. But parents sometimes create this kind of a mistake where they actually reward them with chocolates, where they give them rewards of spending time together in mall, where they would shop with them, where they would go to restaurants and eat. So children start misplacing these rewards as their final goals, and they stop enjoying the process. But this otherwise operant conditioning in day-to-day life is very normal. All employees in companies perform because they know that their behavior would be recognized. It's not only because they work for salary. It's also because they know and they are aware about the recognition. And there are companies in which rewards and recognition policies are not so good, and where employees leaving the company ratios, attrition rates immediately reflect that. So we as human beings all perform on recognition and rewards. Just the thing is, those rewards and recognitions shouldn't be like materialistic rewards or bribes. They should always have higher opportunities of giving us a feeling of winning. It could be process related, it could be sometimes content related, it could be getting affiliation as reward, sometimes it could be achieving success in it. So for everybody, the rewards are different and subjective.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for an amazing question. Any other query? If they have, they can later on also post it to me. I will share my details. They can interact with me on this topic anytime.
Any questions, guys? Any experience if you want to share?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I have another question, which is again not very related to the topic, but related to psychology or some illness.
Sure.
So there have been instances when we see people who are suffering mentally, or they are not feeling very well, but they observe, like if we observe, they have a very smooth flowing professional life and a very comfortable financial life and a personal life. So why in such a situation where everything is going right with the person, they are in a bad mental space, or they do not feel the sense of happiness?
Come again, ask the question again.
So there have been instances where I've observed that there are people who are not very happy or mentally in a good space, even when their professional life, personal life, and everything else is going very smoothly and it's very comfortable.
I'm not very sure whether it really happens, or if it happens, it is partially true. A person being totally unhappy in his emotional and personal life experiences some amount of highs and lows in occupational and educational life also. But there are phases in which, for example, people outscore in exams immediately when after they experience a breakup. What is it? It's a coping mechanism that they use. But that does not mean their study life remain unaffected.
Okay.
So some people use their occupational achievements as their balancing factors for their individual and personal life. But it does not assure success or consistency in long run, because it's a type of projection. It cannot last long.
Ma'am, like how sometimes, is it the same as how sometimes people after a breakup, they just join the gym and then they start working
Excellent.
out?
This is exactly the way how people try to clear their psychic energy
Yeah.
occupied by that particular person and do things which are occupying otherwise. Friends को message करना, पुराने, let's meet up, let's catch up. Okay, because I'm missing on something so much, because I was so occupied going for a haircut, changing wardrobes, going and shopping, studying so much. But all these things are our primary first aid techniques used. So first aid technique पे कोई surgery रुकाया नहीं जा सकता, वैसा ही है. They can primarily serve a purpose, good purpose in life, but that solution cannot be long lasting.
Ma'am, I'd like to add to her. Like she said, ki sometimes everything is just fine in their life, but they still seem to be depressed or sad. That I'm just asking, is it probably because they have self-image issues or self-doubts, or the confidence is low? Like it might happen, like everything is perfect, your family is supporting. I mean, you have everything, your friends are pretty nice, but it might be that me myself is not pretty much confident in myself, or I have self-image issues. It
Yes.
can be
So
a reason.
when you say that everything on the face value is fine, I look at it that everything on the face value only is fine. If a person is feeling low, irrespective of that, there are 5 areas in which a person can just peep in. Now, this is something for all of you. Whenever in life, if you feel low, ask 5 questions to yourself. The short form of that is PERMA. PERMA. Okay. So P stands for positive emotion. Why am I not able to experience positivity and positive emotions? This is first. Second is E means engagement. Why am I not engaged? Am I not engaged in something that I do? Am I more interested in what is happening in people's life? That means I'm not engaged in my life. If 2 neighbors are fighting and if I feel like taking my ear to my door to listen what are they fighting on, that means I'm not engaged in my life. Okay. Then is relationships. Are all my relationships at its place? My friendships, my relationship with my colleagues, my relationship with my husband, my wife, my children, my parents. You need to just check the anchors with everybody. Is it something that I have not been speaking with my mom the way I used to before? Just check it out. Introspect it yourself. Next is meaningfulness. Am I feeling worthless? Am I doubting myself so much? And is there something which is way better according to me, which I should be doing, which I am not doing? That. And last is A means achievements. There should be small goals and there should be feeling of accomplishment followed. If one person doesn't feel accomplished any single day, next day is impossible. It acts as a fuel for our everyday living. The goal could be as small as reaching the college in 20 minutes, because every day you reach in 25 minutes and today you're 5 minutes late. It could be as small as that. But when you do it, you feel, did it. And it's an amazing feeling.
Ma'am,
So
can
all
you
these, yeah.
Can you type it down, ma'am? It will be useful.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank you
just
so
do
much.
that. So the model name is PERMA and it stands for, I'll just write all the full forms. This is the self-evaluation that all of you can do whenever you feel little low. You need to check anchors with all these 5 things. Yeah, I've done that. So this should be helpful for like all of you. So at least you know that, where lies the areas of improvement if I'm feeling low about something.
Ma'am, I had another question. This is partly psychology, partly media.
Sure.
Media first, I guess. We spoke, I mean, you were speaking about coping mechanisms while replying to a question earlier. Yeah.
Yes.
How much, do you think media influences those coping mechanisms? How much and why? If you do.
Sorry, media influences?
Those coping mechanisms. Changing wardrobes, getting a haircut, changing up routines, those kind of things.
Actually, it just gives you input of information. See, why? It just gives you a data, but it just doesn't give you way of life. Why? Because everybody doesn't get helped with a haircut after a breakup. They may try it, but it just gives them a data which was available in a movie. But for some people, only achievements help them, because in the entire span of relationship, they have felt total lack of control on relationship or oneself. So after breakup, they need to have achievements in their lives so that they feel in charge of their lives. Now, this data no movie will give. But a movie might give them ways in which they can try out new things. In this movie, he had done it. In that movie, she had done it. In this movie, there is an entire song on breakup. So, us song mein jo hai, I'll try doing it. It may offer me a data or options, but it just doesn't directly give me a solution, because solution is very subjective. Yeah, same it with coping mechanism. Na? In which movie? Jab We Met? She just tears the name of her boyfriend and flushes it out. And then he says that, did you feel better? I may flush 100 names. I still feel angry about people which I hate. That means that is not a coping mechanism for me, but it offers a way. It may be applicable for me, that clearly depends on me. Probably for me, talking to somebody and solving the interpersonal conflict is a much better way of doing it. Yeah. Some people write thoughts, and that is written in all, it is shown in so many movies. But for some people, reliving those negative memories could be so painful that it might not work for them at all. But it definitely offers options as a piece of information. Like how documentary films also sometimes give information. No? These normal Bollywood, Hollywood films also give pieces of information.
Ma'am, I had another question.
Sure. Last question, please.
Okay. So how does popular music or music in general affect so there's this there's this practice of music therapy, right? Yeah. So how does it affect dissociative disorders, neurodivergent disorders? That's what I mean.
Dissociative disorders?
How does it affect all these problems that come up? I don't know how to form this. Okay.
No. Neurodivergent. Talking about is neurobiology.
No. Okay, I'm talking about anxiety, depression, common post-traumatic disorders.
Super. So, first of all, dissociative disorders is a set of cluster of disorders which is related to heavy chemical imbalance disorders. So, only music therapy cannot help them. Second, neurobiological disorders. When you are any neurobiological disorder, you are talking about neurological disorder. You are talking about difficulty in synaptic cleft of neurons and brain, where medication is mandated. So, okay. But anything which is a stress-related disorder, anxiety-related disorder, it is a combination of how you think and behave and the chemical imbalance in your brain. Okay. That's why it is always recommended that if the awareness of the situation is very well, then something like counseling, working on your own thought patterns and actions, and indirect therapies like art-based therapy, dance movement therapy, music-based therapy could be helpful. So in such regards, when it is acting as a supplement, an indirect form of therapy where you're not talking about your problems at all, but you're just trying to release the cathected negative psychic energy attached to that particular life experiences. So in a typical music therapy, with the help of music that you resonate with, you are asked to remember about instances where you have felt certain emotions, and those emotions are resembled with the music that you hear, and you are able to clear the cathected psychic energy which is anchored at that particular point. It is released and a slow healing takes place. Understood? This is the
So
exact
it's
way
mostly
music.
a psychological thing rather than an actual neurological thing.
Absolutely. In a neurological thing, it can act as a supplement if the medication is also taking place, a counseling is also taking place, a structured rehabilitation is also taking place, and a part of it is art-based therapy.
How does that change with people, with older people, and when those people have dementia or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's even?
Yeah, so a very different question, but very good question, because when people have Alzheimer or dementia, they basically start losing track of memories, okay, and instance wise only, and information ke chunks ही उड़ जाते हैं, okay. But it is always said that music and art form has strong memory anchor points. So when the similar kind of music is listened by this geriatric old age population, some of the memory points at least are anchored back to those music notes. So it helps at least in temporary retention of few things. Again, it is not 100% therapy. It is just instrumental.
Got it. Thank you.
But just to add on to this, when there is post-trauma dementia, when you have accident or head injury and you remember few things in chunks, that's just a post-surgery effect. In that particular scenario, when the memory chunks are going to be retrieved as it is, and this is a temporary chunk, art form, movies, and music are very instrumental in retrieving those memory traces. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Anuja ma'am. It was really an insightful session. We talked a lot about media art and psychology as well. So, like combined and individually. So, I am really happy about it, and I'm quite sure that our students are as well. Students, if you have any more questions, you can convey those to me, and I can share it with Anuja ma'am. Also, ma'am, please do share the material that
research.
Yeah,
I will definitely.
So I can share that with our students. Thanks a lot for taking out time for us, and we would definitely like to interact with you again. I'll get back to you soon. And thanks a lot, guys, for joining. And
thank you so much, everyone. It was a very good beginning of a working weekend for me.
True.
Yes.
Thanks a lot all for joining. I declare this session is over.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
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 Thank you, ma'am.